Ron, when you got a chance to evaluate the tape, particularly I wanted to ask about the run defense. What was going wrong in the first three quarters for you guys, and what adjustments did you make in the fourth?
Well, basically what happened was we got gashed on a couple of plays. And again, those are things that you just can't have. It's unfortunate that it's happened. It's happened 3 weeks in a row where we've given up a couple of big runs per game. And that really puts a lot of things out of perspective, unfortunately. Also, the unfortunate part is they do lead to big plays. Lead to scores, and that's really the thing that we've got to shore up. The other part, too, though, is when you have opportunities to get off the field, third downs are just as important, Second and longs are just as important as that. We've got to be able to go ahead and, get those things shored up.
When you are doing that in practices and in the film room in particular, where do you start in terms of making sure that that's something that you are able to nip in the bud moving forward?
Well, probably the biggest thing we're looking for really is everybody's where they need to be. One of the things that we are, as far as our front is concerned, is we are a gap control defense, which means that there's accountability. And when you look at the gaps and you look at the scheme, are the guys where they're supposed to be? The other thing that could help too is are we as coaches giving them opportunities to be successful? In other words, what other things can we do? Well, some of the things that we did obviously was we changed the front a little bit. We created a little bit of movement up front. And quite honestly, a couple of guys made some plays. And that's really what it comes down to, is that it's just not a magic fix all of a sudden say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We've got to just collaborate as a group, coaches, players, and then go out and do our jobs.
Is there any concern that those issues that plagued you guys quite a bit last year have trickled over, not necessarily everywhere else, but specifically against the run?
No, not really. I mean, if you go back earlier in the year and look at some of the things that we were able to do, you would say no. But, now it's happened 3 weeks in a row. And at the end of the day, it's really about, making sure they're put in position to have success and then go out and executing.
Will you send that roughing the passer call to the league?
Oh, yeah, that'll be most certainly one of the questions I ask, just, so I can get a clarification on what happened and why it was called.
Ron, you mentioned the third and longs and that second and long. You guys started the second half with Vernon sack, had him backed up at 2nd and 26. Gerald afterwards said he was frustrated because he felt like he slipped and that could have
He did, and that was the hard part. We had a good rush going on it, and our inside middle push fell. We had the outside guys coming off the edge. Quarterback had to step up and was able to see the double move, and that's one of the things too, is that they ran a double move on Dante. Dante, as a young player, has just got to understand I've got to continue to climb and stay on top, and that was a tough one.
What did you see from Kyle? I know a lot of guys were very complimentary of how he played.
Oh, Kyle played very well. He did a lot of good things. He may have tried to do a little bit too much. The unfortunate was we had the 2 turnovers. And the hard one was obviously we're in the red zone. We have a chance to put points on the board, and he made a good move, got himself free, and then he tried to force the ball. And again, he's young. Let's don't forget. If you really wanted to call it, this is what his 8th start. So again, we're going to go through some growing pains. He's going to give us everything he can, which I most certainly do appreciate. So again, I thought he played well. He at the end of the day, we were in position to win a game, or at least tie the game. So again, felt very good about what he did.
Ron, I wasn't in there when you addressed it yesterday, but final play of the game, going to McCaffrey, can you just kind of explain? It seems like your best offensive player, but going in that direction.
Well, we had an opportunity. It was an RPO, and based on what Kyle had read, he went to hand the ball off. And again, not to get into specifics, but he had a run pass option, and he gave it to our best player. Unfortunately, we missed a block, and that's really what happened on the play.
Van Roten after the game was very disconsolate about that block. He said it felt like your heart getting ripped out. How did he play otherwise?
He played well. I mean, again, it's the hard part is people remember that missed opportunity, and that's the hard part. There's a guy who's been very consistent for us the last couple of years and done some really good things, and unfortunately in one play, and it was one of those things that, he probably makes that block the majority of the time too.
What do you make of the secondary without James Bradbury?
Well, I thought we had opportunities. We made a couple plays. We missed a couple plays. The two biggest throws on us. One came on a double move, and the other one was a sideline route that the defender was in great position. It really was. It was a tremendous ball that was thrown, and he missed an opportunity to bat the ball away, maybe even catch it, knowing how solid a player Ross has been. But it was a hell of a throw. It really was. And if you look at it, that's probably the only place the ball could have been thrown and have it caught. You talk about a potential future Hall of Fame quarterback throwing the ball against you, and we had some opportunities.
Speaking of Ross, had to leave, leave and come back in the game a couple of times with a knee injury, as reported by the team. Is he going to be working in practice moving forward this week?
Well, I won't know anything till I get done here, and then I go visit with RV. You guys know I do that on purpose too, so I don't have to answer the questions.
Ron, back-to-back weeks with DJ over 100 yards. He seemed to come up big for you guys, especially. You seen growth from him, or just
Yes, seen continued growth from all of our young football players. We got a lot of young guys out that are playing, and been very pleased with the effort the guys have given us. And again, starting with the quarterback, Kyle's been tremendous and done a lot of good things. Like how Curtis is coming along in his role, and been very excited for what we've gotten from DJ. I just think he's a young guy that's really, has blossomed. Some of our young defensive players are struggling a little bit. Especially Brian with the broken hand. It's been very tough on him because it's hard to be a pass rusher and basically work the hand games, trying to fight guys off. But, he's given us good minutes. He has, Marquise has played and has been giving us good minutes. So, we've got a group of young guys that are contributing as a whole.
Coach, to that point, with Kyle only being in his 8th start, and you talk so much about how repetition really helps to contribute to that growth, where have you seen him grow the most from his experiences so far?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just his decision-making is beginning to speed up. And when quarterbacks do that, the rhythm of the play picks up and it becomes even more beneficial to the offense. Quarterback's making good decisions. He's anticipating certain things happening, and he's able to either, if we're running the ball, make good decisions on, staying with the run, and if he's got to throw it, making good decisions in terms of who to throw the ball to and, what leverage to throw the ball against, that type of things. And you see it with him, so that's been pretty exciting to watch. And it's been fun also watching Will. I think with what Norv and Scotty have done with the two young quarterbacks has been really good because, again, we're trying to create as many rep opportunities for both of them to see them grow. And again, and I've said it's going to take about 5,000 reps for a guy who really starts to make things, a habit.
Where does that equate in time, 5,000 reps?
Oh, gosh, it could be a little over, in my opinion, probably a little over a year. 2 years probably, 2 good years of being the guy, stuff like that. That's how guys develop.
What was the explanation you were given on the field goal where you guys were, they got 5 yards?
Well, apparently, according to the explanation I got, was that we moved down too tight, and we were actually covering too much of the center, which, again, that's it. It's a judgment call.
Hey, Ron, I don't know if you're able to get into a lot of detail about this, but when you guys are going through your analytics process in-game situationally, how does that work? Is your new hire, is he in the headset with you?
No.
Or is this something
No,
you guys
this is strictly
evaluate?
coaching at that point. What we do is we meet beginning of or during the work week. We go through certain aspects of the analytics, and then working with Coach Mills, Scott Turner, we talk about the situations, and then as the game progresses, we talk about the game. There's a lot of factors you have to take into account. Each game is an individual game. I can tell you that much right now because there was, like last week, there was no analytics for a fake punt. Okay, so each game has its own personality, its own characteristics. There are some things that you can't judge in analytics. Momentum, how it's going to affect momentum, weather, and injuries. So those are all things that, I take into account. And quite honestly, what I did, I'd do again in that situation. In that same exact situation, I'd do it again. Why? Because it's about winning. The thing about the analytics is the numbers are put together And based off of those numbers, it's supposed to increase your opportunity to win. Doesn't mean you're gonna win, it just increases those opportunities. And the math behind it, for what it is, whether it was the analytics that drove it or not, it was my decision. Because again, you're going into a hostile environment, the weather had changed, the opportunity to win the game early, without having to go into overtime, was looming. So again, we made the decision, I made the decision, and unfortunately, it came down to an opportunity, and we weren't able to fulfill that opportunity.
The specific, and I asked because the specific situation, that very specific little chunk of time and the situation of the score and the position, that's an incredibly rare situation that has only been, that decision that you made has only been really made once or twice since 2016, won by Philadelphia a couple years ago. And I just was wondering a little bit more about your process in terms of, were you aware that that was such a rare situation? When
No.
did that come up
What-
during the
what-
week?
The biggest thing that I was aware of is that to increase your opportunities to win, at that point, you're supposed to go for two. And that was my thinking, again, thinking about winning the football game as opposed to hoping to win the game. Because again, if you convert right there, you put yourself in position to win. If you don't convert, you put yourself in position to tie and then go into overtime. So if those are the two options, those look pretty good.
And I misspoke. The decision to do it is rare. The situation itself has not been rare, but the decision that you made to do it
Right.
is a rare, yes, we want to do this decision. Why do you think that even though the math, over the years and in college, there's a lot of literature on this specific topic that says, yes, you should go for it every single time when you're in this situation. Why do you think that even when this pops up around the league, coaches are still hesitating sometimes?
I can't tell you. I can only speak for what I did and why I did it. And not knowing the Philadelphia situation, just knowing that the numbers say that you increase your opportunity to win. And I didn't go to Green Bay to hope to win. I went there to win.
Ron, I know you said in this situation, a number of factors come into play. The conditions at all a factor too? 'Cause when you factor in-
Well, they were kind of, in your mind, you sit there and you look at the snow's coming down and those types of things. But again, it's a hostile environment. They have a veteran quarterback. To give ourselves an opportunity, you want to do certain things. Yeah, that's why we do things that we do. Again, like I said, it's to try and win the game, and that's what I felt.
Coach, all losses are bad, but is it easier or harder to move on from one like this compared to San Francisco?
Oh, this one, it's just as bad as the other one. It really is. People can say, "Oh, well, there's a moral victory." There's no moral victories. It's you went out to win, and you did, and it's disappointing. To me, it's about making sure our approach to getting ready for the next week is the right approach. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do now except for go forward, look forward to what's happening in the rest of the season. We've got 7 games left. In those 7 games, we play our divisional rivals. We have an opportunity to control our own destiny as we go forward. And we also play a conference game that'll be big against another opponent in our conference that's battling for a playoff spot as well. So the thing that we have to do now is focus on going forward, focus really on what the objective is, and that's to win them one at a time. We have a divisional opponent coming in this week in Atlanta. They're coming off of a big win last week. They've struggled this year, but they found a little bit of footing this past Sunday. We've done some good things. We've got to get back on track. We've got to shore up some things, especially the run defense. Those things are important. So now as we start getting ready, we're looking forward to Atlanta. Our main objective is again winning the football game against them and then getting ready for whatever comes next. But right now the focus is going to go to Atlanta.
That's good. Thanks, Coach.
Cool.